us on the news briefing for this Wednesday. Rain is again in the forecast, and our public works crews have been paying very close attention to that. Storm preparation and preparedness work has been ongoing by the county, even as repairs from our previous storm are still continuing. So we are very pleased to have Randall Ishii, who is our Director of Public Works Facilities and Parks, here to talk about storm preparedness that the county does every year, but of course, these last 2 years, it's been even more important. Hi, Randy.
Good afternoon, Maya, and good afternoon, everyone. I have a brief presentation to discuss our accomplishments and what we have in our preparations for this year. So I'm going to share my screen. And this presentation is an excerpt of the presentation provided to the full County of Monterey Board of Supervisors at their 5 December 23 Board of Supervisors meeting. And what we'd like to talk with all of you today is our accomplishments since the 2023 winter storm damages of January of this year and March of this year, our current activities, and our preparedness and prevention efforts by the county. And it's important to talk about what has been accomplished since those last storms. As we go into a winter season, it's not wise to have existing damages still about when the rains are coming. And so our hardworking public works maintenance crews, engineering staff, and construction contractors have worked at rapid speeds very swiftly to address the damages from the January 23 winter storms and March 23 winter storms and flooding. And by way of context, the damages that we saw this year were on a massive scale. Just for the public works, facilities, and parks component of all the county's damages, we are looking at a combination of far north of $50 million of damages. That's 50 million, and that is just on county roads and bridges, in county parks, or on county-owned buildings. That does not include all the other damages the county has seen. And so ever since the January events and March events, as I mentioned, the crews have been working at swift speeds in order to address the damages. One of the categories for disaster events is called Category A, which is debris removal. And that was all the mudslide materials, the trees that came down, and so on. Just from the January event alone, approximately 80,000 cubic yards of debris have been cleared. Separately, and on top of that, the crews have cleared out 50,000 cubic yards of debris. And this is a very expensive undertaking. It's also a very upsetting one for our regular commute traffic, because here again, these are the landslides or tree downs that cause roads to be blocked off and prevent emergency responders from getting to people's homes. So thanks to our County Board of Supervisors providing us a loan from the Strategic Reserve and a loan from the state of California to immediately begin addressing the debris removal and damages. County crews have been working swiftly to clear this debris. And I want to give some context to that for our viewers and for our media partners. A 10-wheeler dump truck carries approximately 1,000 cubic yards of debris at a time. So to put this into context, that's 8,000 dump trucks fully loaded down that had to carry out debris from January, and another 5,000 fully loaded down dump trucks for the debris in March alone. Almost all of the debris removal is fully complete as of today. And moving along, when you have landslides, oftentimes a road gets taken out, or there's a washout of a road, and that's what we call permanent repairs, which are characterized under FEMA as categories C through G. And so of road damages, bridge damages, and the like, nearly all of our projects are completed except for a few projects that are remaining that are currently in progress. And those are places like Arroyo Seco Road down in the South County, which I'll talk about in further detail in just a moment. This is a map of the entire county, and the purpose of the map is to show, here again, just the road and bridge damages from the two different events. The blue dots represent the damages from the January storms, and the red dots represent the damages from just the March storms. And so, while this is a very busy looking map, the purpose of the map is to show that we had damages from these events literally countywide, from as far north as Pajaro to as far south as Parkfield and everything in between. The next few slides are some exemplified examples of the types of work that our public works, facilities, and parks crews have undertaken during these two different events that have been addressed. The first one is a slide showing the community debris removal program in the community of Pajaro. And this shows the various debris that's being cleared out from people's homes that were damaged by the floods. To give this also some detail, approximately greater than 9,500 cubic yards of debris were removed through this community debris removal program. And again, that's separate from the landslides. This is just through the course of our community debris removal program. And moving on, this is an example of damages to the community of Chular's wastewater treatment facility that is managed by county crews. What you'll see here is that the Salinas River had overtopped its banks and flooded out and damaged the wastewater treatment plant, not once, but twice. Once in January, which our crews and contractor worked rapidly to repair the treatment plant so that way sewer service would be restored to the treatment plant facility. But when the March flooding occurred, it washed out all the repairs that we had done, and we needed to do it once more and had to get the treatment plant back in operation. And as a note, while the treatment plant facility was out of commission during the both damages and the repairs, we did have sewage hauling trucks that were constantly bypassing the sewage water from there to the city of Soledad, whom we thank for allowing us to bring the sewage there for treatment. So there were not interruptions to the sewer service for the community of Chular. It was only the treatment plant facility that was down and needed to be repaired. In the next few slides, just a few examples of the damages we saw in the South County. So this is an example of Pancho Rico Road and its washout. Now this is nearby the community of San Ardo. On the left-hand side is a before picture showing a seasonal creek that flowed with a lot of flow and washed out and scoured the side of the road, taking out a good portion of the road. The right-hand side is the after picture showing the repairs that have been made to that road. This is another example in the South County. This is at Lewis Creek Road, which is in the Coast Range Mountains on the east side of the South County. And the left-hand side picture shows you that after the floodwaters that came through Lewis Creek had abated, there was severe undermining and washout of the side of the road known as Lewis Creek Road. In fact, the river flowed so rapidly that the river moved. And when it moved, it washed out the side of the road. And so the right-hand side picture shows you the crews and contractor at work repairing Lewis Creek Road and also restoring the river back to its original location. And as we move on, this is Arroyo Seco Road at milepost 2.5. This is one of two sites on Arroyo Seco Road, which has caused the road to be closed except to the local traffic. And as we speak, our contractor, Granite Rock, is working on repairing this location. And so that way it'll be fully restored 2-lane roadway as it was before. And so with our current status, while we have been performing these repairs at these different locations and have addressed almost all of them and have only a few remaining, our hardworking public works maintenance crews and contractors have been preparing for this upcoming rainy season by performing reviews and cleaning of road culverts and drainage ditches along roadways. And they have also been checking on past problem areas. Public Works has also made drainage improvements at issue areas like 777 River Road and Chular Road in the community of Chular, with the goal of reducing debris flow impacts. And so these drainage improvement projects we've done have the goal of reducing the debris flow that we have seen occur, which in past years, these types of debris flow events at these locations would have caused road closures, thus interrupting paths of travel. So we look forward to seeing the improvement through doing those projects. And this year, to supplement our existing public works maintenance crews and their equipment, we have even more job order contracts or on-call construction contracts than previous years. This year, we have 13 JOC contracts, as opposed to 10 this last year and 6 in previous years. And these contractors include those such as Granite Construction, Don Chapin, Papich, Tykert, and so on. These are the on-call resources we used during the 2023 winter storms and past disaster events to rapidly respond to emergencies. They have also been deployed extensively for our disaster recovery, such as the swift repair and reinstatement of the CSA 75 Chular wastewater treatment plant for the people of Chular. Had we not had these job order contracts and had to rely solely on the public bid process, the timelines for repair and restoration of services and people's expected regular daily lives would have been far prolonged. And for resources for the public for protecting the private properties, Public Works has sand stockpiles available and will be constantly checking on them and refreshing the stockpiles. These locations are shown on the county website, as well as the Monterey County UConnect app available free from the app stores. And while we try to be everywhere at once, we cannot be everywhere at once. So we look to our public that if you see something, please say something. You are the force multipliers of us being able to restore services and prevent further damages to our infrastructure. So please contact us at one of the 3 general methods that we have listed on the screen. We're available by email. We are available by phone at the phone number you see on the screen. And we encourage the public to contact us at 911 during the period between the Christmas holiday and the New Year. That is the period known as ECO here in the county. And the third way is to contact us by the Monterey County UConnect app, available free from the App Store. We also encourage our public to check our road closures and information page for road statuses throughout either the events or just generally be aware of road statuses through the county's road closure and information page. And that takes us to the end of our presentation. This concludes our presentation, and we're available for any questions. And thank you very much. And I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you very much, Randy, for really walking us through the tremendous amount of work that has been done and what really was desperately needed. If anyone has questions for Randy, you're welcome to just ask it, or you can put it in chat. I did want to show how easy it is to access the UConnect app. And I hope you don't mind. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here for a minute. Let's see. I'm not able. Hold on. I'm going to stop sharing. It's on our Monterey County website, and this is the better share. So let me get back to that, and I'm going to share that. And our lower third has an icon that says mobile app. So it's our homepage. On our lower third scroll, you can click on that, and it will take you right to the place where you can sign up. And no matter which app or type of phone that you have, you can sign up for that. And then, so I'm not seeing any questions. I did have an earlier question about the Carmel Lagoon, because that's a storm effort that is done frequently during the winter months. If you could describe a little bit of what the current status of the pilot channel is today.
Certainly, and excellent points, Maya. Thank you for bringing that up. So another winter storm preparedness activity that we do that is conducted very strictly to our permit requirements is the Carmel River Lagoon sandbar management. The county has multiple permits from state and federal regulatory agencies for this activity. And while there are various triggers in there, the important part is that when these triggers are met, county crews will go out with the support of a contractor to create what's called a pilot channel, or a small rectangular earthen channel from the Carmel River Lagoon in a southwesterly direction to the Pacific Ocean. And the purpose of the pilot channel is to alleviate water in a environmentally sensitive way from the Carmel River Lagoon out to the ocean, thus preventing flooding damages to homes nearby the Carmel River Lagoon. We did engage in this activity back at the end of the month of November, as it appears storms were approaching, and so we mobilized and created the pilot channel at that point in time. However, the high wave action that we saw over these last couple of weeks completely refilled our pilot channel and set our efforts back by filling it up with sand once more, thus preventing flow. And so our crews mobilized again yesterday with the support of a contractor and reformed that pilot channel. And as of yesterday evening, what one will see is that the water is gradually flowing at a slow, calm, metered flow from the Carmel River Lagoon out to the Pacific Ocean. It's gradually lowering in water level. It's in preparation for the rains that are forecasted for this next week. And again, it's done so in strict compliance with the various permits that we have. And I'll hand it back to you, Maya. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions for Randy on storm preparedness before we let him go and move on to our next topic? I'm not seeing anything chat, and nobody is shouting anything out. So thank you, Randy, very much for really this thorough overview. And we know you're going to see we know we're going to see your crews out during the next few months, and hopefully it's all just for maintenance and less repair.
Thank you very much.
So now we're going to move on to our next topic. We're very pleased to have Melanie Beretti with us. She is the acting chief of planning for the county, and she is going to talk about two very important issues for us today. One is the Big Sur land use plan, which came before the Planning Commission this morning, and she is fresh out of the Planning Commission and joining us. And it will be the subject of more workshops, and she's going to talk about that. And then the other is a status report on the county's vacation rental ordinance and the draft public EIR that is available now. Hi, Melanie. Thanks very much for joining us on these topics.
Hi, thank you, Maya. Nice to see everyone. I'll be very brief. I'm going to do a quick screen share. I know Maya has these couple of slides for reference. I'm sure she's shared or will share following this briefing with you all to orient on some resources. I'm going to actually start with the Big Sur Coast LUP. Just let me get oriented. So as Maya indicated, our Monterey County Planning Commission held a workshop this morning reviewing the updates proposed to the Big Sur land use plan. The Big Sur land use plan, the original land use plan, was certified by the California Coastal Commission in 1986. This plan is really the gold standard of land use plans and has done an amazing job at setting the development standards and restrictions for private and public entities operating or owning property in the Big Sur Coast in an effort to really preserve and protect the Big Sur Coast, which is truly one of the most spectacular and unique places on Earth. And so this is the primary governing document for the Big Sur coastal planning area, with a real focus on natural resource protection and public access to the land use planning area on Big Sur and how to best balance those two. There have been a number of just changes in circumstances, as we all have experienced since 1986, And the Planning Commission designated an ad hoc committee, which was appointed about 2 years ago to consider all of the input that have been received to date, and to develop the draft plan that is available for input and was the subject of today's workshop. So just brief status, the draft updates to the plan was released on November 13th to the public. That is available on the county's website, and the subsequent memorandum of visitors serving accommodation count was released later in November and also made available. Today's workshop, we really want to thank all of the public and the commissioners for their really thoughtful comments, questions, suggestions with regards to the edits to provide that high-level policy direction to make sure that the ad hoc committee and staff are on the right track for where the plan is headed. The workshop was held to 2 hours and was continued, and we will be returning to the Planning Commission on February 14th, 2024. So they did establish a date certain return to continue today's workshop and conversation to February 14th, 2024. So we encourage community members, agency folks, anyone with interest in the Big Sur planning area to follow the discussion and contribute to that conversation. If you'd like to be added to our public distribution list, the email is on the screen for where individuals can reach out. We have our webpage. This will, when you receive it, will link to the county's webpage, which will be where we will keep current information up to date regarding updates to the Big Sur land use plan area. And if you have specific comments or feedback at this point, you can reach out to my colleague, Taylor Price, who's the associate planner who is helping to support on this effort and leading this effort with the commission. So with that, I think I'll pause and take any questions that anyone may have with regards to Big Sur before I launch into vacation rentals.
Great. And so if anyone has questions about this particular aspect of Melanie's presentation on the Big Sur land use plan, this is a good time to, you can either put them in chat or you can shout them out. I do want to ask you to speak a little bit more about one thing. You described it as a gold standard, as a project. Why is this a gold standard for a project?
Yeah, so I think, I mean, the coast of California is just an incredible resource. However, in Big Sur, what's particularly unique and different is just the majestic natural resources, the pathway of Highway 1 going right against and along that, literally the edge of the Pacific coast. And making that, and just the really uniqueness of the natural biota and resources that are available there. When the original 1986 plan came together, and I was not here at that time, but what that plan did that was so unique is really brought together private landowners, state, federal, local regulatory agencies, all of whom have authority and or property and or interest in the Big Sur coast, to recognize just the true beauty and value of this area and acknowledge the real limitations to its ability to support continued access, which is required and protected through our California Coastal Act. In a way that's responsible and really preserves what is unique and just truly characteristic of Big Sur. And so this governing document is one that really tries to lay out the framework for how all of these regulatory agencies, as well as private property owners, are able to do development, maintenance of facilities, et cetera, with in a way that is consistent. And a lot of folks gave up a lot of rights for what could be developed and what could not be developed to provide the critical protections of Big Sur. So for all those reasons, again, this Big Sur land use plan is truly a gold standard of collaboration and strong policy language to really protect that Big Sur coast from excessive development.
And there are a lot of, you talked about strong policy, but there's a lot of strong opinion about where that was in 1986. Here we are in 2023. Some things may have changed, but some things remain the same. And I'm sure those strong opinions are coming out, especially this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, there's kind of, I guess, how I could encapsulate that. There are really kind of 5 key policy areas that are looked at in these updates. And I think these key policy areas really reflect what's changed since the 1986 plan that is causing, I would say, strain on our ability to kind of achieve those underlying goals of protecting and Big Sur. And those key policy areas include, so critical to that is capacity of Highway 1. There's a lot of traffic and a lot of cars that go up and down Highway 1, and capacity of Highway 1 to help accommodate the visiting public was really critical and fundamental to the original plan and its goals. In addition, we have climate change. We have increasing risks from wildfire, and the ability to be able to do fire fuel management in a way that can be responsive yet still protective of those natural resources is a really critical issue being addressed. The balance between visitor serving commercial uses and keeping those affordable and accessible with the community's ability to afford to live, and for those who work in Big Sur to be able to be housed in Big Sur, are really critical issues that are being evaluated and looking to balance. And then, of course, just overall looking at, we've had a lot of change in the use, a lot of folks doing kind of destination large events, helicopter fly-ins, various types of aircraft access, noise that really kind of changes, is amplified and changed in recent decades, and is really and is also being looked at. So I think those are some of those key areas, and how we really find that balance is truly of concern and our challenge and opportunity in Big Sur.
Any other questions for Melanie?
I'm on a media briefing. Can you speak in the back? Oops, sorry. Wrong button.
It happens. Any other questions for Melanie before we move on to her next topic on the short-term rentals? I am hearing none and seeing none. So Melanie, 1 down, 1 to go.
Great, thank you. All right, so it's been a really big month for the county's Housing Community Development Department in terms of really bringing forward and crossing over some major milestones for our long-range work program. So in addition to the Big Sur Land Use Plan, the county has been working for many, many years now on updating our regulations as they relate to vacation or short-term rental of residential properties. And so just for definition, a vacation rental is the property for transient lodging for less than 30 days. The county is taking a somewhat unique approach to the environmental analysis of our vacation rental draft ordinances. To our knowledge, no other jurisdiction in California has really conducted a detailed environmental analysis. And in this case, we have developed a draft environmental impact report looking at the potential impacts that our vacation rental ordinances and this particular use will have on here in Monterey County. What's really unique and that I want to highlight is in the draft environmental impact, in addition to looking at physical changes that these policies could bring to the environment and analyzing those potential impacts, we also took the opportunity to include an optional chapter on socioeconomic impacts, because a lot of what we hear, the concerns and the issues that confront Monterey County residents with regard to vacation rentals in our communities and in our residential homes really relate to those socioeconomic impacts of those rentals. So we included this optional chapter to try to be even more responsive to what we've heard for concerns from the community and policymakers, and included a third-party analysis, economic analysis of potential impacts to housing, the availability and affordability of housing. So we have released the draft environmental impact report. It was released on December 11th, and we will be accepting public comment on that draft report until January 29th of 2024. And so following the close of that public comment period, staff will then take that public comment. We will incorporate it into a final environmental impact, and we will return to the Planning Commission and then the Board of Supervisors to bring forward those draft regulations for consideration and approval. And just in terms of steps, once the Board of Supervisors considers and approves our vacation rental ordinances, which we expect to happen sometime next year in 2024, the coastal portion of those regulations will then be submitted to the California Coastal Commission for certification. So again, we encourage anyone who would like to be, who may not yet be in that discussion, we encourage you to either be added to our public distribution list at the contact email included here. We have our link to our webpage where you can get the current information, updates, and you can access the notice of availability and that draft public environmental impact report. And then we are receiving formal public comments at hcdcomments@co.monterey.ca.us for that CEQA document. Or you can contact my colleague Taylor Price, who's also supporting on this one, if you have questions or comments. So with that, I will happily answer any questions or elaborate on any information that individuals may have.
Thank you, Melanie. Are there any questions that people may have for Melanie on the vacation rental? This is news about the draft EIR just being released this week.
Yeah, Monday.
So, and I think people had been anticipating it, but it's certainly long in the making. And I wonder if you might talk a little bit about the decision to, elaborate a little bit more on why the EIR may help this process along, because the whole conversation has gone back and forth with vacation rentals. It has just been, really a challenging conversation for all sides.
Yeah, I mean, I think without going into too many details, I think, it comes down to we live in a very beautiful area, a very costly area to live, and an area in which both economically, our local economy is dependent on tourism. And due to that population, that tourism, and just the changing in how individuals travel and utilize private residences for their stays as vacation rentals, shifting from more kind of historically traditional hotels and motels. I think given all of that, it's really the crux is twofold for the community, is really trying to recognizing that individuals who are vacationing may behave different than individuals who are living in residential areas. So there's certainly nuisance and neighbor complaints and other issues that are very real if you're living next to one of these rentals that may not be perhaps as well managed and can be very disruptive. And then there's also really just anecdotal concerns and issues with whether or not or how the use of these residential homes may affect affordability or may affect the availability of housing for the local community. On the flip side, vacation rental is also an opportunity. We live in a high cost area. It's an opportunity for homeowners to look at opportunities for renting rooms or second units on their property to potentially earn income to help them stay on their property. So there's really a lot that needs to be balanced there. And I think the decision that the county made to go forward with an environmental impact report is just recognizing in our particular area there's some uniqueness and also just a lot of concern and controversy that has come up over the years. And so by going through the environmental analysis, and again, in particular, also adding that optional chapter of social economics, it was an opportunity for the county to really look into and investigate the concerns related to this type of use.
So that draft EIR, hot off the press and hot on the website for people to review. And if people want to review it, they have to know that the review time is finite, where they need to review it by really the end of January to make any comments, to add, whatever they want to contribute about it.
The last day for public comment is January 29th of 2024, and that public comment on that draft environmental document is really critical. It's not the last opportunity for public to participate in the conversation, but it's really critical for making sure that when we bring forward the final environmental analysis that we're able to be responsive to those comments. And then again, we will have public hearings that are open to the public to comment on kind of the final outcome of that environmental report, as well as the policies themselves that the policymakers at the Planning Commission and board will be making final decisions on next year.
Thank you, Melanie, and thanks for the great news on the EIR. There's nothing like an EIR to make your holidays, right?
Thank you very much, Maya.
Thanks for joining us. And then we're moving on to our next topic. And we always say last but not least, because this is a really great topic to talk about. While the holidays bring joy for many, for others, it is not such a great time of year. Stress during the holidays is really a thing. It's more common than you think. We're very pleased to have Melanie Rhodes from our Behavioral Health Bureau of the Health Department to talk about managing your stress during the holiday and doing a mental health checkup during this time of year. Hi, Melanie.
Hi, thanks for having us. And with me today, I just want to acknowledge is Laura Clayton, one of our behavioral health services managers. I've asked her to join. We're going to tag team this a bit, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to get us started. Here we go. And let me pop this into full screen mode. All righty. So yes, as you said, the holidays can be a difficult time for folks for a variety of reasons. So we're going to talk briefly about that, some coping strategies, and also touch base on a few resources that might be helpful, as well as information on our newly launched community crisis line. So, our world has really changed so much so fast over the last several years, and while we are technically post-pandemic, the reality is that it's with us, and we still don't really know the full impact of the pandemic, and probably won't for still some years to come. But what we are seeing in behavioral health is that the needs of our community are greater now than ever. And the reality is, we're all complex human beings with a variety of emotions, and it's normal for us to experience a wide range of emotions, including ones that perhaps we may not always like or that may be uncomfortable for us at times. And what we do know is, how we cope with these feelings and emotions or don't cope with them really matters and can impact not only ourselves, but those around us in positive or perhaps not so positive ways. It is possible, however, to manage these feelings and come through situations, even really traumatic ones, stronger and more resilient as individuals and as a community. So I just want to take a moment and remind us all about the importance of breathing, you know, of mindfully and intentionally slowing ourselves down, pausing, grounding ourselves, and sitting in silence for even a few minutes and just breathing, and how helpful that can be. Because recognizing and acknowledging how we're feeling in the moment, and noticing that without judgment, you know, creating these intentional mindful moments to check in with ourselves and to be still and have a bit of compassion for ourselves and others around us as we go through our day can be extremely helpful, in especially in these, you know, very hectic times. So yes, let's all breathe. So as we've been discussing, it's important to pay attention to how we're feeling and acknowledge that without judgment, without, you know, making that harder on ourselves. It also can be really helpful to develop a plan when we're feeling stressed or sad or lonely. You know, this time of year can bring up a lot for folks. So, you know, to really look at what natural supports we might have in place and how we can move from, you know, maybe feeling isolated or alone to connecting with others, to having a sense of community and belonging. And, you know, a sense of community, however we define that for ourselves, you know, it may be through church or religious practice or social group or hobbies or sports activities, you know, connecting with our neighbors or coworkers, you know, family or friends, you know, but finding what works for us to stay connected. And as a reminder, it also can be helpful to think about our social circle, whether that's large or small, and consider also reaching out to others that we know who may be a little bit more isolated or alone at this time of year, and check in on some folks, you know, especially if we've known perhaps they've been going through some difficult times, and just reach out and connect, you know, because that can really be helpful. Additionally, it's a time of year when, you know, the days are shorter, the nights are longer, the weather changes. You've been talking about, you know, the rainstorms and the floods and all those things that come, you know, the lack of sunshine sometimes. And these seasonal changes can also impact our mood. You know, and in some ways it can mirror some symptoms of depression. So, you know, just being aware and recognizing and acknowledging that and where we're at. Also just a caution about, you know, alcohol or drug use at this time. You know, sometimes folks may you know, do that. It may be part of the social thing. You know, and just a caution about sort of that avoiding or limiting that, because that can also exacerbate any sort of symptoms as well that we might be having, or feelings or emotions. And bottom line is, you know, when in doubt, reach out, talk to your providers, reach out with questions or concerns. And, you know, if you're noticing a significant increase or change in behaviors for yourself or loved ones, you know, getting curious about it and asking and checking in with folks can be very important. So now I'm just going to turn it over here to Laura to talk a little bit more about self-care during this time of year and share on some resources.
Thank you, Melanie. Let's see. Self-care is especially important during the holiday season. It brings with it not only joy and connection, but also high expectations and more to do in our already full and busy lives. The holiday season can be a sentimental and reflective time that reminds us of loved ones that we've lost, which may bring up unresolved grief, feelings of loneliness, and possibly feeling isolated. So practicing self-care becomes especially important to stay healthy during this time. What is self-care? Self-care is a practice, meaning it becomes part of our daily routine. As we grow and change as people, our strategies will also grow and change. Self-care builds resiliency, physically, mentally, and emotionally, to face ongoing and situational stressors. Self-care is the scaffolding that we create to maintain balance and overall well-being. So it's really important during this time. There are many types of self-care, and today we'd like to touch on just a few of them. First off, we have mental self-care. It includes exercises that keep your mind active, as well as inner dialogue that supports a positive mindset. So this could be completing puzzles, word finds, Sudoku. It could be positive affirmations. It could be gratitude journaling to stay focused on things that are really going well in our lives. Physical self-care, it builds resiliency in our physical health and nervous system to reduce stress overall. So we are not as impacted physically in response to stress and things that are out of our control. This includes healthy diet and exercise. We've all heard that a million times. Attending doctor and dental appointments is very important during this time, as well as getting adequate sleep. Emotional self-care helps us process, accept, and manage our difficult emotions. So this could be creative expression, such as poetry, visual arts, anything that helps us express these difficult emotions. It also includes setting boundaries with ourselves and others. Spiritual self-care promotes inner growth, a sense of purpose, and meaning in life. So this is really important. Meditation and mindfulness exercises as part of your daily routine could really be grounding for you physically and mentally and emotionally. Also participating or engaging in spiritual or religious practice. And then finally, we have social self-care. Melanie touched on a little bit of all of this actually, but establishing and maintaining meaningful connections and creating a sense of belonging, such as making time for family and friends. This is making positive memories, volunteering in the community, and possibly attending 12-step meetings, which may also be a spiritual practice for some. Also, knowing when to seek help is an important self-care strategy. Seek extra support if you are practicing self-care and you're still feeling overwhelmed physically or emotionally. Contact your doctor if you're feeling physically unwell, or if you're seeking psychotherapy, contact your insurance company for a list of providers in your area. If you or your loved ones are Medi-Cal beneficiaries, please seek assistance here at Monterey County Behavioral Health, where we have clinics in Soledad, King City, Marina, and Salinas. You can call our Access to Treatment team at 888-258-6029 to make an appointment. And if you need someone to talk to immediately, please call our new 24/7 Monterey County Community Crisis Line at 866-615-1060, and Melanie will share more about that.
Yes, thanks, Laura. I'm going to actually stop share real quick, and then I'm going to reshare information on our new community crisis line. Give me 1 second here. And Maya, I believe I shared this information with you. I sent it to you by email. Feel free to share that. We have English and Spanish versions of this poster or flyer. You should be able to see it now. So our community crisis line for Monterey County, it provides free and confidential emotional support to people in suicidal crisis or emotional distress 24/7. You know, we have the QR code there, as well as the number Laura already read. You can call to help for yourself. You can call on behalf of somebody else, family members, friends, can also reach out. And you know, this is open to the public. This is a public community crisis line. So independent of anyone's ability to pay or whatever, this is a free service. So I just really want to emphasize that. The importance here is is getting folks connected to help, and having somebody to talk to, day or night, holiday or not holiday, any time of the year. And so this is also part of our looking to expand our crisis services here in Monterey County. And I believe we'll be back next week talking a little bit more about our mobile crisis expansion.
Thank you, Melanie. This is really great news about this crisis line. And there's the same information in Spanish, which we will share with all of our media partners after the briefing is over. It seems like it's no accident that this is coming online at the holidays, just what we were talking about. But I think it could be something just been long in the making. It's also local. So I think maybe you could talk a little bit more about, these are people who, our neighbors, people who live here are helping people who live here and understand our community.
Yes, and I think you really hit on a very important point. A lot of folks are saying, well, why do we need this line? We have 988. Folks get so confused with all of these options. One of the things folks might not be aware of with 988 is you get routed to the 988 provider based on, the number from which you're calling. So if I'm calling from a cell phone and what area code of that cell phone is from, say, Los Angeles, for example, I'm going to get routed to a 988 provider system from that area down in Southern California, who is probably going to be great at, providing that phone support and things, but they're not necessarily going to know the local community resources and things like that. So with this number here, this is our Monterey County Community Crisis Line. We are working in partnership with Suicide Prevention Service here on the Central Coast, our 988 providers on the Central Coast, local resources, and this is also going to be able to help link folks to mobile crisis field response throughout our county when that's needed. So this truly is the 24/7 avenue into local support.
This is also a real commitment that your bureau is making along with the other partners to put, this is no easy undertaking, because you really have to have all those collaborators really committed to being consistently there when people call.
Yeah, we're fortunate. We have a lot of really amazing partners and folks that are truly committed to doing this work and helping the community, serving the community, all coming together. So we have a lot of amazing collaborations. I mean, mobile crisis is not new here for our county. We've had a team in operation, since 2015, and what we're really working on doing is expanding that to 24/7 support. And so we're, launching all of that along with our community crisis line now at the holidays. Like you said, it is really timely. But, our mission and our goal is to really make these services available to individuals who need them in our community and throughout our county.
It's really great news, and I really am. It's so exciting that you were able to come and announce it here and share this with everybody. And we hope really people will take advantage of it, that they won't be afraid. I think there are often people who think, and I could be one of them, thinking, well, I'm fine. I'm just tired. I'm just, I have too much going on. People may not take that moment to breathe, as you describe, and say, maybe it's something a little bit more, and to not be afraid of saying it could be something a little bit more than just being tired or whatever stress might be.
And the amazing thing about this and calling this community crisis line is you can remain anonymous if you want. You can just call and start the conversation, have some support from someone, and you can remain anonymous. And bottom line is we're here to help. And I think just being able to reach out and connect. And if you're having that thought, why not call and just talk to somebody and talk it through? Because, what we do know, and as we have been trying to talk about, is through connection, through talking with folks, things can become clearer for ourselves as well, as opposed to just holding on to it and suppressing it. And then it might come out in some unexpected ways, so yeah, help is available.
Thank you very much for sharing this with us today. And thanks everyone for joining us on the news briefing this week. Our next briefing is next week, and we'll see you then.
Thank you.